hurricane, a tidal wave. Essence perfect, life looks brilliant. Give me more of this. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You're burying me, burying me. Yeah, you're burying me, burying me. You've got me hypnotized. Push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy, but the light has got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. Get you out of my head again. Is it wrong? Is it right? It's like I've won my final war without a fight. I'm out of control, about to blow. I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You bury me, bury me. I know you bury me, bury me. You've got me hypnotized. Push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy, but the light has got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. Get you out of my head. Get you out of my head. Just to feel like I'm fading. And though my heart beats a beat down, I've crossed the ledge just to tell you. Don't lead the way, don't even say that I drown with a child playing in the rain. I feel like I'm fading. Come on, give it all you got. You're trying to save me, but you're making it all worse. Every time you hear these words, I'll be down the road, cause I got the odds are better on my side. Why don't you try to be wise? Help me, I'm calling you cry. I never wanted to be alive, just to feel like I'm fading. And though my heart beats a beat down, I've crossed the ledge just to tell you. Don't lead the way, don't even say that I drown with a child playing in the rain. I feel like I'm fading.
Hello, everybody. It is Sunday. Welcome to your favorite Sunday sports stream point of view. I am Bobby Munson, and man, it's almost April, and Mother Nature is playing a cruel ass prank on us here in the western parts of Canada because there is a lot of snow and a lot of cold. And someone who can attest to that, as he's nodding his head right now, is the man right beside me, Andre. How are you doing today, sir?
Very cold. Being that I'm a province over Bobby, we have very similar weather. And I had my entire yard had no snow. My neighborhood was pretty much all gone from snow. And my work had very little snow in it, just some ice buildup in weird spots. And now we gained like 25 to 30 centimeters of snow. And it sucks. But I'm good. I'm alive. I'm happy. I'm doing this with you boys, and I'm gonna play some Assassin's Creed Shadows. So I'm happy.
Nice. Sundays are always good for that. And be back for the first time on screen in a good week, I believe it's been, right, if I'm not mistaken. And he can tell you more about that. Very happy to see him here with us. It's OLED. How are you doing?
Hello. I'm still recovering. I am still sore. I'm still tired most of the time, but I am hopefully back for a week of podcasts, so we shall see how that goes as the week goes.
Oh, for sure. Well, let us know how you're doing throughout the show here, Ed. If you do need to run or anything like that, you just go ahead and do that. We completely understand. Very grateful to have you joining us here. Also grateful that this guy's in the house. It's Bobby Stats saying good morning, everyone. Good morning to you, Bobby. Glad you're here.
I gotta say something about Bobby Stats. He sent me a picture yesterday, looking really snazzy in his suit. Guy cleans up really gosh darn well, man.
Yeah, he's the stats man. He's the styling stats man. That's what he is.
Right.
Styling stats man.
That is right.
Perfect. All right. Well, let's kick off the show this way, Ed. You've had a week of being able to watch a few things, maybe watch some wrestling shows, but no time to talk about it. So I want to give you the floor. What's been up lately with sports this week for you?
So there's two things I want to talk about, and I want to talk about one of them first because I think it's something that it's going to continue from something we talked about last week. Yep. It's on the idea of WrestleMania. Last week I brought to the forefront the John Cena heel promo and how much I loved it and how much I enjoyed it. This week I want to talk about how much I love the closing segment of SmackDown.
Okay.
I loved every bit of this. I thought this was storytelling in cinema at its finest in terms of the contract signing with Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk. And you have to include in this as a fourth person in this because he's just as much a part of this story as the three competitors in this match, Paul Heyman. This was sensational. This match deserves to be the night one main event. And it's going to be the night one main event. However, that poses a problem that needs to be addressed when we're talking about this. WWE needs to do two things immediately as soon as they can. One, we need to start telling better stories with our women's division. Because there is no reason why with 2 nights of WrestleMania that women should not be main eventing at least one of those nights. There's no reason not doing it.
Sorry to interrupt for a second, but my argument is if you're going to have the Royal Rumble winner go on to challenge for a title at WrestleMania, those should be your 2 main events. I'm a traditionalist in that sense. I believe that both titles that are being defended because of the Royal Rumble stipulation, those are your true main events. That's what it should be. The men on one night, the women on the other.
The second thing I was going to say is WWE needs to stop saying that the winners of the Royal Rumble main event WrestleMania.
Okay. Sorry
that should be done with as well now too. I think that the winners of the Royal Rumbles should be able to have a championship match at WrestleMania, and then depending on the stories you're telling, have the best stories main event your biggest show. This year, the 2 best stories in WWE are your WrestleMania main events. John Cena versus Cody Rhodes is the best story going in professional wrestling in terms of WWE right now, I think. The John Cena heel turn and what can happen from that heel turn and what happens if this is an 18th world champion or the 17th world championship. That's a good story. That's a story worth main eventing a WrestleMania. It's your 2 biggest stars. It's your 2 most marketable stars. There's no reason why that match can't main event. The CM Punk finally getting his main event after everything he said about WWE, after all the things he trashed about WWE, finally getting this moment. And especially the moment where you have Paul Heyman breaking down on television and kissing him on the side of the face when he tells him, I know what you're looking for, and it's there. And the emotion from Punk to finally realize that he's main eventing WrestleMania for the first time. Because he's told us for how many years now in interviews, in AEW, in WWE, that he no longer cared about being the WrestleMania main eventer. It wasn't why he was back. It's not the reason he came back to wrestling. But you can tell it was still there. That desire to be one of the best, to be able to say that I main evented WrestleMania. And again, it's main evented with a small m because it's night one. It's small m main event.
Yeah. I agree with you on the... Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, but this goes to the further point that there's no reason we can't be telling women's stories as good as some of these other stories. But when you look at these women's stories, the Raw women's triple threat doesn't feel like a main event. The only one that really feels like a match that would be main event quality in terms of story is Naomi and Jade. And we're not even confirmed we're getting that at Mania yet.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't main event with Jade Cargill. I don't trust her in a main event just yet.
No. And that's not it's not a full-on criticism of Jade. It's just Jade's not ready for that spotlight at the main.
Agreed.
Here's the thing. To me, that triple threat women's match is only not feeling that way because they added 3 people to it. Again, like you're talking about Roman, Seth, and Punk. And while I'm not a big fan of multi-person matchups to begin with, they've got this story going on that they're trying to tell to make that one feel like there's a reason for the triple threat as opposed to just having a triple threat. Where with the women's one, it feels like they tried to shoehorn a reason for a triple threat in there instead of just like relying on the fact that either Rhea versus Io or Rhea versus Bianca in a one-on-one matchup was a headlining women's matchup, headlining WrestleMania matchup, not even just necessarily the women. That right there is a big enough matchup to start feeling like a main event if you build it properly. And they kind of blew it, in my opinion, by having Io go over so quickly over Rhea just to be able to shoehorn in this triple threat idea. I think they could have just easily gone with Rhea versus Bianca at WrestleMania, or again, Rhea versus Io. Either one of those would have worked perfectly in that sense. But they've done what they've done, and I feel like they've done wrong by the women. And there should be more storylines going into this. Again, you've got now essentially, if you include the tag title, you got 5 main women's championships within the main roster. And how many are being defended at WrestleMania so far that we know about? 2? 2. That's sad.
Really, again, and I look at it in the fact that, yeah, they do need the wording needs to be edited. They need to say the Royal gets a championship match at WrestleMania. They got to stop saying main event because they said it for both, and neither is going to be the main event. Now, I know there's some people's weird rationale that the main event isn't all. No, the main event is the last piece, last match on the show.
Mm-hmm.
It's simple as that. There's no argument. That's the main event. It's always been. It always will be. Now, Punk's match being main event, I'm very happy it is because again, it's the biggest story outside of Cody and Cena. But I was hoping he'd miss it just again. So but there's still a story there for him because he wants to get to the main event of WrestleMania win a title. It can still be his quest to main event WrestleMania to win a championship on night 2 or something. Like, again, he still has that elusive thing. He got his main event, but he still hasn't had his main event. And I think it'll be dashed from him. I feel like Seth Rollins is going to win this match just to screw Punk. And it gives Punk that I need to win in the main event of WrestleMania, which can be going into next year. I at least it's a feeling I'm looking at is I think that's a strong way because you can continue this interest with CM Punk doing that. But yeah, I'm interested. Weirdly, the least interesting person in all of this is Roman Reigns, and he's in one of the best characters for the last few years, and he is the least interesting person in all of this because like Punk is doing amazing things. Seth Rollins is at the top of his game right now, promo wise. Heyman has been absolute perfection. And Roman's there, and he's doing a good job. Don't get me wrong, but he's there. But I still want to know what's the favor. Obviously, that wasn't the favor. He said it's not the favor. What's the favor? Yeah. Ed, what's the favor?
I don't know. I love. See, you say that Roman's just there for the first time. That's all Roman needs to do is just be there because he's the linchpin to everything. So, like, I agree. I know you're not saying it as a criticism. I know you're saying it like for the first time, we're seeing a Roman Reigns story where Roman Reigns isn't the entire point of the story. And I'm like, that's a great thing.
Yeah.
That's a great piece of movement for the Roman Reigns character, that he can be involved in a story, be such a linchpin, and just have to sit back and be part of the story for once, as opposed to being forefront and the most important thing.
Well,
the best picture on Twitter this morning I saw, or it was yesterday, is Roman sitting in the chair at the desk going, like, just like that kind of,
Yeah.
just like, I laughed so hard watching that, looking at the picture. I don't know why.
He's so happy right now with the way his career has gone and the work he's put into being, the tribal chief, where he's finally able to just enjoy his career. Everything's not on his shoulders, but he's still a viable part of this. And when it comes to the match, love him or hate him, this match is going to be an absolute banger, because there's no way these three put on a bad match, period.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and just think of the arguments that they can make either in the next couple of weeks build up, or even afterwards, if there's any one-on-one encounters between any of these gentlemen. Like, Roman can sit there and make the argument that you two wouldn't be main eventing WrestleMania had it not been for the status that I've built over the last several years in this company. You're only main eventing because of the name that you just piggyback off of, and that's Roman Reigns. At the same time, then you can make the arguments about whoever comes out victorious is, going to go on a big success or anything. Like, is Punk only involved because of his old connection to the wise man kind of thing? You can start making those arguments towards it and stuff like that. Punk, you wouldn't even be on this level right now because everybody had forgotten about you so much, but it's only your ties to the wise man that brings you into this main event. You pretty much were handed a main event as opposed to earning said main event. And that's where the digs start to come in and that tension starts to build. And there's a lot of things that can go on between these three pre and post WrestleMania.
And the best part is, I don't know, did you guys watch the entire segment from SmackDown?
I have not, no.
Okay. The best part is, in true to character and everything that he's supposed to be doing, as soon as Heyman reveals to Punk that it's there and that he's the main event, and they give it time to milk, and the crowd is excited and everything's going on, Seth starts throwing the biggest fucking tantrum that Punk doesn't deserve the main event, that the main event is reserved for the greatest of the greatest, and he doesn't want this sullied by having Punk as a WWE main eventer and at WrestleMania. It's so fucking good. Like, this segment again is so real. It's just all of them being the best. Reigns sitting back there laughing and having a good time and just being a happy guy. And then getting so upset when he finds out, because he thinks, okay, cool, I'm done. I don't have to worry about this godforsaken favor anymore. And then the bombshell at the very end is, as the all the credits have rolled, and Punk's like, that's not the favor. And everything goes black.
Well, again,
it's
and
such
the point,
a fucking good segment.
And the line of it's not the favor, because why wouldn't Paul Heyman want to put his client Roman Reigns in the main event of WrestleMania? So he's not doing this as a favor to CM Punk. He knows it benefits CM Punk, but he's doing this to make sure his client is in the main event slot, gets paid the most money on night to be in that slot. That's what he's doing. He's being the advocate. He's being the wise man for his client. This is not a favor, which is the absolute perfection of it all, because he's just doing his job for his client. It's absolute perfection. I love it so much.
And what if the story becomes written that Heyman assists Punk in making Seth take the loss here? CM Punk picks up the win. Roman takes a loss by nature of a triple threat kind of thing. He doesn't eat the actual pin because Seth ends up eating it. And then there's just this, you imagine that wicked smile from the wise man kind of thing, almost like, I don't know what I did. Like, I'm innocent. I didn't pull anything here. Like, he's got that devilish way about him, that snake-like way that would fit that narrative just perfectly and would then create that extra tension between Roman and Punk in a one-on-one situation, as well as the tension that it builds with Seth, because Seth takes that loss. He was the victim of what the wise man did, because, with the battle with his his current client and one of his former clients as well. I just want to bring this up quickly. Bob, you mentioned Roman not involved in any title match this time around. Again, that's a huge thing. We've seen Roman involved in the title match for years and years and years, and now, main event, but no title on the line. Interesting to see, like, the titles have taken center stage, at least the main ones have, but not a whole lot on the front of anything else. Like, there isn't a lot of, emphasis put on the other belts currently going into WrestleMania season, at least not strongly anyway.
Well, I mean, they're telling a big story with the men's US title.
Yeah, if you call
they
it that.
On television week to week, they've been telling a story with the US Championship.
Yeah.
They have
Well,
the story of Jacob Fat too, and everybody else just happens to be around him. That's
okay,
what the story
that's
is.
fine. It still involves the US title. Well, give it to me. On Raw, they have been doing a fantastic job.
The champion doesn't even matter in that program. The only person that matters is the guy going after the belt. Nobody else matters in that program. It's terribly built.
They've done a fantastic job on Raw, telling a fantastic story of Braun Breaker being this, workhorse champion when it comes to the Intercontinental title.
Yeah, that's it's fair. I mean, I guess the emphasis is there on the belts as TV purposes anyway, but doesn't feel like they've got anything set in stone. Like you'd think this is the time to put the stamp on it. We're weeks away. Let's say this is your title matches. This is what's going to happen. I almost feel it's going to get to the point where it's like they feel like, okay, we're overstuffed. Now that US title thing, it's going to headline SmackDown instead, because apparently SmackDown's the consolation prize all of a sudden for people who didn't make the WrestleMania card every single year. We got STG join us saying, by God, and it's Bobby, Andre, and even older Ed. Somehow, apparently, Andre and I didn't age in this period of time since STG last saw us, but Ed, 1 week older.
I am indeed 1 week older.
Isn't Ed in between us? Isn't Ed the one in between us in ages, Bobby? Isn't Ed in between us?
Yes.
Yeah. Bobby's the old guy here. So, like, it's a weird one. Like,
yeah. Damn, STG.
Which is weird.
Talk about sports talk. Just ran 6 kilometers. Man, you made me tired just fucking thinking about that.
Who runs? Ew.
I'd be skating 6 kilometers if I was out there today trying to do that kind of stuff.
Oh my fuck. This week has been horrible. I have slipped and fallen probably 6 to 7 times in the last, like, between Wednesday and Friday. The last one was actually when I was with Peggy going to wrestling. I slipped. I caught myself and, like, kind of fell, but landed on my knee and, like, kind of, but dude, multiple times that big whoop, take the back bump, and, like, couple times just knocked the air out of myself, man. Jesus Christ.
It's not called slipping and falling though, Andre. It's called taking winter bumps.
Yeah, it's
called falling with style, isn't it?
Falling with style. There you
it's
go.
winter bumping, yeah. Like I've taken 2 big back bumps, couple of hip bumps. Like, it's just fun.
As long as you don't take any head bumps, you should be okay. All right. Anyways, back to the topic at hand.
Bobby.
Sorry, what was that? Sorry?
I said we had a fantastic Cold Fury on Friday.
I haven't watched it yet. I got to get around to it. I haven't watched it yet. No, it's up on YouTube though, isn't it?
It is on YouTube, so you got it.
That's what I thought.
Did Seabass appear?
He did. He was in the semi-main event.
There you go.
He fought Dijak.
Oh, the only person I know from that company, it's only because of New Japan.
Yeah, look at that match there, Andre.
I love that dude so much. He's just in his trainer, Kurt Angler.
Bobby, you're going to need to give yourself some time if you go ahead and watch that show. It's 3 hours and 3 minutes. They also have the Hall of Fame in there, and I would say watch the Hall of Fame because they inducted Jamie Janikowski, I believe is his name, and he's one of the original owners of Chaotic Wrestling.
Yeah.
And it was the first time in the 25-year history of the entire company, it was the first time he'd ever been on camera in the ring in 25 years. He doesn't own it anymore. He's since sold it and just shows up at shows every now and then. But it was nice to hear him and get to see him, the man who started it all, and kind of, you know, let the chaos begin. So it was fun to see and hear from him for a little bit. But it's a really good show. There's some interesting stuff on this show. This match in particular is not what it appears to be on the card.
Okay.
I will say that.
I'm looking forward to finding out.
This match changed in a big way during the show, and nobody knew why. But you'll see what happens when it happens.
Okay. Bobby, I'm going to come back to what you mentioned here in a little bit because we're going to keep on the chaotic topic for a minute because STG is asking, saying your local organization, serious question. So for you, Ed. Yeah.
Yeah, this is definitely a local organization. They've started in the area 25 years ago. And 25 years for an independent promotion is, as Bobby can attest, a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're at their 23rd annual Cold Fury this year. And 25 years for any independent promotion to still be in existence is a feat of strength in and of itself.
I mean, I was just gonna say, I'm just proud of us going on 6 years this summer for PPW. So I mean, 25 is incredible.
Yeah, because I look at the local independent scene, like Kurt Sorokin when he ran PWA. They started in 01, but they ended in 2020 after the pandemic. They came back for like one show, never really returned. The only RCW has been around since like 03, but they were very sporadic in the first early years. But like Monster Pro Wrestling is the longest running. I think they started running in like in the 90s here. They're still going today here, but it's just like it's so rare. Love Wrestling here in here. I was just at their 3rd anniversary show. Just for a company to survive 3 years is huge. Like some companies never get out of a year. So for 25 years, that is crazy impressive. Hello, Papa Smokes.
And as far as STG says here, he goes, can you name me some of the few big stars that have come out of Chaotic? I can name you WWE superstars that have come out of Chaotic, because if you watch the show and you watch Jamie's thing.
Whoa. The biggest star to come out of Chaotic is C-Bats Finn, and we all know that.
You might change once I start talking here. Kofi Kingston is a Chaotic person. Kofi Kingston wrestled in Chaotic for years. Tommaso Ciampa is a Chaotic as a former Chaotic superstar. Also, Warbeard Hansen from the War Raiders, the Viking Raiders, Ivar, however you want to call him. He was here as Handsome Johnny. I showed Bobby and Papa Smokes a Handsome Johnny promo. It's so weird to see him without the beard and just see him all gussied up and do. Oh, it's yep. He's been great. Chris Hansen is good stuff. No, there's been a lot of guys. I mean, they talk about, Jamie drops the bomb. Years ago, when Cena was at the top of his game, they did a charity event that had both Cena and a former owner of the WWE, whom I will not name by name, appeared in an independent show. And it was the only time that Cena appeared in an independent show during his WWE run. And he was in a match at the show. So, I mean, Chaotic has had a long history. Again, and I think that's because of the fact that in the early days, the wrestling school attached to it was the Killer Kowalski Wrestling School. So you had this connection to WWE as almost like a feeder system, because Walter Killer Kowalski was running a training school that kind of was attached to the school. A lot of the early students were students of Killer Kowalski. And so with that, you had this intimate relationship with the WWE because of it. So you'll see a lot of names that appeared there have some limited success in WWE. And I could count more. I mean, Mercedes Moné is another. I don't like saying that she's a talent from Chaotic, but she was. Like there's a litany list of names that have come from the New England Pro Wrestling Academy, which was part of the Killer Kowalski Pro Wrestling Academy, which is all linked to Chaotic. So there are some names. It's interesting to see, but yeah, they've done some work.
Just going to go back for a moment to what Bobby had here. Apparently, Bishop Dyer set to debut at the MLW Battle Riot on April the 5th. That's coming up this Saturday. I mean, the Battle Riot's always a blast. Bishop Dyer really getting himself out there, starting to work the independent scene and really doing very well for himself as well, too. Had a fantastic match over at MPW against Tom Latimer for the NWA Heavyweight Championship. I mean, it was a solid piece of work. I like his presentation. I think that he'll do very well for himself going into an MLW ring and going into the Battle Riot. In fact, I think that is a great grab for MLW right now. I think he's going to add a lot to the roster as it stands. And again, Battle Riot's fun. I haven't decided yet if we hold off a few weeks, as Bob Spokes and I have so much booked up on Ring Respect Radio. Do we hold off and review it a few weeks after it happens, or do I try to pre-record something and fit it in there one of these days? I haven't quite figured it out, but I'm definitely interested in seeing not only the Battle Riot in general, but Bishop Dyer's debut in MLW's Battle Riot. So
yeah. I want to throw one more thing into the wrench here of the show, and it's going to be a change of subject here.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball season has started, and we're not going to talk a lot of baseball, but we are going to talk about this because it's been pissing me off all day. So this is a regulation standard baseball bat.
The Louisville Slugger.
Sure.
This is what a baseball bat's supposed to look like.
Mm-hmm.
I bring that up because last night or yesterday afternoon, the New York Yankees debuted this.
Whoa.
That looks weird.
Yeah.
So what happened is the New York Yankees shoved the wood from a portion of the bat lower further up into the label of the bat to change the shape. What this does is it means that the part of the bat that's most likely to hit the baseball has more wood in that section, which means the ball could potentially go further. The ball could potentially be hit better, more consistently.
Yeah.
That being said, they debuted this yesterday. So they debuted this yesterday, and shockingly, they hit 9 home runs and scored over 20 runs.
Sweet. That sounds good.
So
that makes the game more interesting.
So did they not this was just, they just brought it out and it was all good? They didn't have to go through any councils or any permissions?
Nobody knows. As far as I know, I haven't looked any deeper into this than just getting the pictures and having seen the stuff overnight. But
wow.
I have no idea if this is legal, if they're allowed to do this or not, because this is not a standard baseball bat. And I know you can't cork the bat. So in the 90s, Albert Bell and other athletes have gotten in trouble for drilling into the bat, pulling out pieces, putting in cork, and then going ahead and using that. It was supposed to have given the ability to hit further, hit harder, things like that, because you could then swing quicker and in terms get a better connection with the baseball. I don't think it's legal, but at the same time, I don't know what's going to happen. So it's something to pay attention to. But of course, those damn Yankees, those fucking Yankees, are cheating again.
Damn Yankees.
They're already cheating. So
them Yankees are always cheating, man. Yeah.
Those damn
Yankees.
For those who don't understand, the Red Sox and Yankees are like the Jets and the Sharks. Like we don't get along. It's a lifelong rivalry. It's
the Winnipeg Jets and the San Jose Sharks have a rivalry. Didn't know that.
I don't know what.
Just take him right out.
I'm just going to give him the Mark treatment.
What?
So
come on. That was a good joke, and you know it. Come on. That was a good joke. What?
We need one of those. We need like that soundboard that Jose's got for Saturdays. Just
Yeah, one of us needs to invest into a Steam Deck at some point.
No, I will never do that.
Oh, funny. But so was this opening day of the season? Like, had they started any
It's
other
opening
matches?
week.
Or?
This wasn't opening day. I believe this was yesterday, so I believe that they were 2 or 3 games in. But it's very early in the season. The season just started.
Okay.
Yeah, as far as I can see, I can't find anything on any ruling yet that it's illegal. But like, again, anything that just makes the game more exciting, go, let's do it. They put the pitch clock on to have less downtime and give me these crazier bets so we get more home runs and shit's more exciting. Like, okay, I'm cool with it. Baseball's like I like going to a baseball game if I can watch one live. That's great. That's exciting. That's fun because you're sitting in a park eating food, watching the game live. But like watching on TV is the most boring thing to do in the world. I'm sorry. I'd rather watch golf.
First of all, nobody's actually watching the baseball game when they go to it live. They're preoccupied with drinking and eating food and having laughs.
I will say that I used to go at least twice a year, every year, just to watch the game live. But then again,
okay.
I have a historic stadium to go to. I have a stadium that's been standing since the early 1900s.
So. I have this place called Telus Field, and it's just random low-end baseball teams that play there.
We've got the Saskatoon Berries for whatever division that's in or something, but they're now part. Actually, funny news. We have actually PPW has partnered with the Saskatoon Berries, and we're going to be putting on a little quick few match show at their home opener this season. So.
Oh, there you go.
Does your town not know how to name teams?
Oh no, hell no.
Well,
like the Rush. I'll give you the Rush. We screwed up the Rush. That's fine. But the Blades and the Berries, really? Okay.
Yeah. We got the Rough Riders as well too. We only took that name from Ottawa.
Even worse. Stolen name. Ugh.
We're so creative here in Saskatchewan. You know how it works.
You look. It's the middle of winter. You look. Oh, blade! There's a blade on a skate. Let's call them the Blades.
It's called work smarter, not harder. Work smarter, not harder.
Somebody. Oh, the Butch. You're Saskatoon Berries. We'll call it baseball. Who wants to play for the Berries?
Because look, Saskatoon berries are a great fruit, man. Like, tell me you've never had Saskatoon berry pie.
I can attest to you that I've never had Saskatoon berry pie.
For you, Ed, I definitely understand that. That makes sense. But for Andre,
I have.
You can't tell me you've never had.
Oh, I have. And it's pretty good. It's not my favorite, but it's pretty good. But I still wouldn't name a team after it. STG wants you to send them.
Whoa. I heard of it, but you gotta be kidding me, STG. Come on, you're in the Western provinces still. I mean,
he lives on the coast though. He's one of them elite coastists.
We probably ship our best Saskatoon berries out to the coast just for those poor people in BC to have good Saskatoon berry pies and jams and all that kind of jazz. But essentially it's similar to a blueberry in terms of texture, obviously, because it's a berry. But it looks like one too. It's kind of like a smaller version of berry, I guess, but it's not. I find it's not quite as sweet as what a blueberry is.
For me, the taste is like a cross between a blueberry and a raspberry.
That's a fair assessment.
It's like if you cross those two, it's not exactly if you smash them together, but it's got the because I find the raspberry more tart. And then the blueberry is a little more sweet. So it's kind of like a mixture of that. I don't know. Yeah.
And here we have turned point of view into Honor Ramble now with talk of food on a Sunday.
All right. What's the breakfast food we're not supposed to talk about here?
Fuck you.
Eggs Benny. Eggs Benny.
And he's gone again, man. He must have some bad internet there in Edmonton today.
No, I didn't know you were the one that hated it. Sorry, Ed. I didn't really. I thought it was the girls that hated it. I'm sorry.
No, it's me too. I despise the shit. Every time I go to a breakfast restaurant, I send Bobby a picture of me flicking it off.
I don't particularly care for eggs Benny because it's not, I don't like the sauce. So
That's fine.
but I don't hate it like everybody else. I love poached eggs, but I just don't like the egg. I don't like the
hollandaise.
You don't like the sauce created from the eggs.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. The flavor just doesn't work for me.
Because that's essentially all it is. It's just the egg yolks turned into a sauce.
I know.
Breaking raw news, as he does every Sunday. We've gotten Adam Pearce telling us a match for Raw. We're going to get Braun Breaker teaming up with Penta to take on Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio.
Teaming with?
Penta and Braun Breaker will be teaming to take on the Judgment Day's Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio.
Interesting.
The Lucha Giants.
Oh.
I don't know.
What?
I don't know. STG wants to know what your favorite breakfast items are, Ed.
French toast.
Bacon is the top notch thing here. So let's start with bacon.
Yeah, bacon.
But it's not flabby bacon. It is crispy, almost charcoal burnt bacon. It's bacon, almost blackened bacon. It's got to be crispy and almost cardboardy. It's so much better that way.
Yep.
Can't do this flabby, fatty bacon. No. I also really enjoy a good waffle. All the nooks and crannies, get the butter all over it, get in each little spot, and then go ahead and pour the syrup over every little spot. Have a nice little pool of syrup for going ahead and getting in there as well.
Too much sweet.
So pretty much every Saturday morning, because I work from 9 to 1 on Saturdays. I go for breakfast at the local restaurant here in town every Saturday morning. Just got my treat for myself, and I get what's called the boat, and it's 2 pieces of French toast, two eggs over easy, hash browns, bacon. It's just, and I always say crispy bacon, please, and they bring it out crispy bacon for me. So, yeah, you gotta cook that bacon, man. You gotta pick it up, and when it falls, it's because it's breaking apart because it's so crispy. That's what it's gotta be.
That's pretty damn crispy. Gotta have that crunch to it when you bite into it, right?
Yep.
That snap. Fair enough.
But I'm gonna head on out, gentlemen.
Sounds good, Ed. We really appreciate having you here today. So, do you want to do where to find you quick?
Catch me Tuesday. I'll have all the plugs on Tuesday. I'm recording something Tuesday, so I'll have all the information for everything on Tuesday.
Sounds good, man. Okay, have a good rest of your day, Ed.
Talk on Wednesday.
Marvel Talk on Wednesday. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Catch you later, Ed. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
My special guest Ed coming on this week with me and my co-host Peggy. So with our guest host Ed.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Peggy's been rocking all the Daredevil reviews this time around.
Well, Peggy's coming. Peggy's coming back next week too. This week too. She's enjoying the show. She keeps wanting to talk about it, so we're gonna keep having her back until she doesn't.
It's been good. It's been a good show, and yeah, I can't wait to listen to you guys rocking that one on Wednesday night. I'm sure I'll catch the new episode on Tuesday as well too. So, the STG might as well make Peggy a regular. I mean, Peggy's kind of become a regular already, man.
If she wants to be on the show, I said I'll just send her the link. She's on.
Yeah, nobody's saying no to that at all. Peggy's been a great addition, and love getting her take. You talking about mine, Bobby? You talking about my shirt, or talking about Andre's shirt? I'm wearing a
hoodie that says Canada.
Yeah.
So you can like it all you want. It's Canada. Everybody loves Canada, but it's your shirt. Come on, we all know it's a Slipknot shirt.
Well, I mean, you can't go wrong with the mighty Slipknot, right? So, I was just saying to my wife, this thing is almost exactly 3 years old. coming up here. It was actually Easter weekend that we went and saw the Knotfest concert and got this t-shirt that day. So
Nice.
can I get a link to send the show off?
No. No. This show's already off track, man. I don't think the show's ever been on the track. That's the real thing. It's never been on the track. So.
This show's more on track, like not this episode, but most weeks we're on track, at least that it's a sports stream. Like we talked some wrestling, we talked a little bit here and there. I mean, I could ramble on about how fearful I am about Manchester United's match on Tuesday, but I'm not going to bore you guys too much with it.
I heard I was coming to the US in the summer.
Who is? Sorry,
Isn't Manchester United playing in Chicago this summer?
They might be. Let me just double check that.
Yeah, I saw it on a page. I was like a wrestling page. I'm friends with people, and there's a bunch of different discussion there. One of the guys was saying that I think it's Manchester United's coming to. Or maybe it's Man City. I don't remember.
No, it could be them. So like a lot of the times the teams will do like a summer like preseason tour where they get the opportunity to play any new players that have been purchased, some of the youth players to see where they're at and everything like that. So right now, on their website, Tour 2025 or 2026, it looks like they are starting in New Jersey on July 26th in a game against West Ham. They will be in Chicago taking on Bournemouth on July the 30th. Then they will be in Atlanta taking on Everton on the 3rd of August. So yes, there is 3 preseason tour matches that are going to be taking place in the US. It's always cool.
You gonna get down to Chicago then? You gonna make way down to Chicago?
I don't know. I'm not big on travel, to be honest with you. Like if I can get there by car, I prefer that. I'm not huge. I'm not afraid to get on a plane. I just don't like going on planes. I don't like being in airports. I don't like waiting around and then having to sit on a plane for 40 minutes while they do stupid little seatbelt things. It's like, you know what? Quite frankly, if the plane's going down, I'm probably got a 5% chance of survival regardless of what I do. So let's just let fate try to figure it out from there.
Well, you're gonna have to get on a plane at some point when we go to visit Ashford. Come on.
I know. One of these days I'll have to get around. Again, is like I said, it's not for. I've flown a lot of places before. Like I just really hate airports. I did it for work a lot too, where for cost cutting measures, they'll like take whatever connecting flights they can to save money. So I have done the zigzagging across North America to get home before too. Like there was one time I did training in North Carolina. Then my flight flew out of North Carolina all the way to Las Vegas. I had to switch flights in Las Vegas. This was around like midnight or 1 a.m. And then from Vegas, it went all the way to Toronto. And from Toronto the next morning to Saskatoon. So when I say zigzag, I literally zigzagged in a Z shape across the US and Canada.
I've heard like horror stories from wrestler horror stories about planes going to the weirdest places to get them to a show. But I've never heard of a literal zigzag. Jesus. I've flown, I guess, I don't know. I flew like I've over the years I've flown back and forth to the East Coast to see family, PEI in Quebec. I've been to California. That's about it. I used to fly regularly up to Northern Alberta for work, fly back and forth for sites. I've never really flown far places there, SCG. So I've been to England when I was really young to visit family. I haven't been back in a long ass time, but that's the furthest I've ever flown. But I have, zigzagged North America, been to Mexico, things like that, but never anywhere outside of England and North America. I haven't been anywhere else worldwide kind of thing. But, hey, I always thought maybe I'll have to travel somewhere for the World Cup, but I don't have to because STG, that World Cup soccer is coming straight into Canada, coming up in 2026 with matches in Vancouver at BC Place.
That is going to be a blast. At least a minimum of 2 of Canada's three. I'm pretty sure it's 3. Yeah, 2 of the 3 promised matchups for the qualifying rounds for Canada are being played at BC Place. So yeah, it's cool that it's going to be that damn close for a change like that. The closest it's ever been otherwise was in maybe. It's a strong possibility. The closest it's been otherwise is when the US held it in 1994. That was the closest it's been otherwise, kind of thing. So the fact that's here, and trust me, like in my lifetime, it's very slim to nil that we might ever see that again, especially in Canada. Like it took that long from 94 to 2025. Like that's 31 years that it took, right? I mean, at best, I'm 73 before the next time it might possibly be in North America in any capacity. So it's quite wild. Speaking of Canada, I'm rooting for Canada wrestler Gigi Ray against NXT wrestler JC Jane at Reality Wrestling, and pick Andre along the way, Bobby. Yeah, that's right. We make a big tour, head on out, watch the games.
Mel Woods,
but yeah,
baby.
always.
Gigi Ray.
Bobby, always support Canadian wrestlers, dude. Like we've got with the best of the best coming out of Canada. You should always be supporting.
And to SCG, I'm not going to Vancouver for soccer. Fuck no. No.
He doesn't want you to go there for that. He's wanting you to go hang out with a bud. That's what he's asking. Like,
I get it, but what are we gonna do? I'm not gonna go to soccer.
You would. Come on. I mean, who hasn't gone to a sport that they don't normally watch because everyone's like, hey, we're going to the game this Friday. Let's go.
I've been to soccer. I've been to a big soccer games, and I went, this is the most boring shit in the world, and then I left because it sucks. I understand. And again, I know I like things that you hate and you think that sucks, and I find soccer so boring.
I get it.
The intricacy, I like everything surrounding soccer, all of it seems so interesting to me. But then when you get down to the game, it's the same thing with baseball. Everything that surrounds baseball is insanely interesting to me. They put the player, everything that is the technical side of baseball, I think is amazing. But then when you sit down and watch the game, I go, this is boring. That's my feeling. And again, you probably would think the same thing about F1. Because again, F1 is not a particularly exciting sport.
Yeah.
But because I love the intricacies of it so much, I get into it. It's again, and I understand that's for people like soccer, people like baseball, people who like any sport. It's the intricacies. I love curling. I love watching curling. Some people find that's like paint dry. I understand. I just can't.
I can tolerate watching curling more than stuff like baseball. I'm not really big on watching baseball. I could go out and I don't mind if people are playing for fun or something like that. I'm not good by any means, but I'll go out there with a mitt and catch a ball and poorly swing and miss several times in a row. That's fine. Golf, I've never the couple times I've tried golf, I'm terrible at it and I can't stand watching it even more than that. But anything else, I like competitive stuff. I like watching competition kind of thing. So it's if somebody's got some sort of game on of any kind, I don't mind sitting down and watching and enjoying the competitive nature of any type of sports, whether it be hockey or football or whatever it is. I can sit there and find something enjoyable about really any sport being on because I'm a competition guy. I like when people compete for things. That's always been built into me. I mean, maybe it's the competitive nature I always had from a kid I was only 5 or something when they put me on a soccer field for the first time. I was also that same age when I was the leading up my bowling team and ended up winning a bunch of bowling trophies. Yeah, that's the jokes can come out now. Anybody who remembers the movie Kingpin and Munson being synonymous with bowling. Yes, it's funny. That joke was made when I sat there watching that movie in a theater and all the jokes about getting Munson out of the middle of nowhere, all that stuff. Yeah.
I literally just made that connection. That is
Roy Munson, Uncle Roy, the bowler.
Jesus Christ, I didn't even think about that. No, I played every sport except for hockey because I was never a good skater, and again, hockey's insanely expensive. Like I played soccer for 1 year. I laid down. I was on defense or whatever. I don't know what you call them. The guys at the back before the goalie. Is that the defense? I don't know if you have a term for it, or is it defender or whatever. I was there, laid down in the field, and my coach was yelling at me. I find that I was so bored. Baseball, I think I played for a couple of years. It was fun. Like when I was a kid, it was fun. I curled through high school. That was my favorite. That was my sport. I loved curling. I helped my teacher when we had curling in gym, in my gym class. I got to help my teacher with everybody because I showed up to the class with my own room, with my proper slide, my proper curling shoes. One shoe has a slider on it, the other's a grip shoe, and he goes, "Oh, so you're helping me today." I'm like, "Okay," because I knew what I was doing. Some of the kids in class knew what they were doing. Some had no idea. So again, because I curled every weekend, so I love that sport. But it's like to some people, they just look at that sport and go, "This is so dull," because it can be a very slow game. Like curling without a timer on it, it can be a very slow game.
See, I like it because again, like it's similar to shuffleboard, and I loved playing shuffleboard as a kid and was quite good at playing shuffleboard. And then you get to like bocce ball or something like that, and it like a lawn version of playing curling and everything. So here's a fun story that we'll try to wrap up the show after that. So I was in Chicago for training, or just in a suburb just outside of the city of Chicago for training quite a few years ago. And one of the nights, the team for the place I was working for was like, "Okay, we're going to go and play bocce ball." There's this bocce ball and bowling center that's literally right in the same parking lot as the hotel they had us staying at. So we just like walk over there. They were going to have supper, drinks, and play some bocce ball over there kind of thing. So we get there, and to nobody's knowledge, all of a sudden the top half of the place, like they have like a upper area where you can rent for parties and stuff like that overlooks the bocce ball and the bowling and stuff, was rented out by the Chicago Bulls basketball team. So we get there, and the Bulls are all up there having a private party and stuff like that, but you can see them up there because it's all just glass windowing and everything like that. So we're going ahead, we're playing bocce ball, and everyone's going to me like, "Canada, how'd you get good at this?" I'm like, basically, this is curling on grass. I'm like, that's what it is. So I was on the floor with all these people, and the waitress comes up to me to ask me if I want my next drink, taps me on the shoulder and says, "Just so you know," she goes, "I just got a message from the Chicago Bulls up there looking out the window that they're enjoying watching you destroy people at this bocce ball thing. They said it's quite entertaining." And I look up, and there's these 3 basketball guys for players. And again, I'm not familiar enough with the players in basketball to know who they were, but they're just standing there and they start waving at me and everything like that. Hell yeah. Like, yeah, the basketball boys can see it. They respect Canada and the way we play those games. Love it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, like I love curling because again, I like over the years, I remember me and my dad going to Bonnyville, just a couple hours away, and watching Randy Ferbey and his squad, along with Kevin Martin and his squad, at a local curling rink, just like the Bonnyville Curling Club, but they were playing because again, it toured around. They toured around and played all these different places, and didn't cost us I think it cost us like $5 to get in because the place is trying to they use it. When the teams come in, they can help fund their place by charging a $5 ticket. And I met these guys and got their autographs, and it was awesome just getting to meet like my curling heroes. But but they're just my dad worked at a hardware store here in town, and David Nedwin, the guy who he ended up throwing 4th rock for Ferbey's team because Ferbey was famous as a skip for throwing 3rd. Nedwin came into the store because again, most curlers have a full-time job. Like they make okay money at curling, but they need a full-time job to support their families and everything. But it's just crazy. Like meeting these guys, you're like, oh my god, but they're just regular human beings, which is so weird. It's so weird, isn't it? When you meet these guys, like, but if you were to meet like a WWE person, it's like, yeah, but you're not quite a regular human being. You're a pro wrestler living on the road, making But again, I'm not saying they're not a human. But you know what I mean. Like when you meet people at a certain level, you get what you understand what I mean? Like
it's kind of going down the road of like they're a little bit higher up that food chain, right? They're being paid to make a living out of this. They don't have to take out a regular job. It's not like when working the independents and you might not know when your next paycheck's coming in kind of thing, unless you have a regular kind of job to supplement your costs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, when it comes to WWE level, it's a little bit more disconnected because they haven't worked a regular job like the rest of us in a long ass time. So
yeah,
oh,
again, that's what I mean. But when you meet a base like a top end ball player or a hockey player, yeah, it's that different feeling, right? But like when I met these curlers who I know they're just a when they're not on the curling, they're just a regular dude working their 9-to-5 job, and it's that weird feeling. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it really is. No, I agree with you 100%. Well, with that being said, we are just past the hour here. So I think we're going to let everybody get on with their lives, with their days, all that kind of wonderful stuff. But Andre, why don't you tell the wonderful people what you got coming up, where they can find you, what's going on in the world of Andre C.
Wednesday, you can find me right back here. I'm going to be hanging out with my co-host Peggy and our special guest. Oh, Ed, I'm kidding. But yeah, Peggy did say she wants to come back this week. So looks like the three of us will be there talking Daredevil episode 6. And we'll get Ed's reactions to episodes 5. We'll get his reactions to episodes 5 and 6 from this past week. So come check this out as we talk some more Daredevil and any other Marvel news that drops. Because last week we did talk all the cast announcers for Doomsday. So we will probably talk about that again. You can find me on the X Blue Sky at That Canada Guy, TikTok, Instagram, and Threads at That Canada Dude. You can find me back here next Sunday, where I'll be chatting with you, Bobby, and the other boys. They show up at Matt Mark if he ever comes back to the show. Because it's been like a month since we've seen that guy.
Wow.
And where's that video, by the way? I still haven't seen his video for losing. I still haven't seen his ice bucket video.
Well, you better get on Ed's case for that.
I'll give him a break for the next couple more weeks. He's
probably a good idea.
Still recovering, but if we don't have it by like summer, there's something wrong here.
And Mark's been recovering as well too. He's been very sick over the last little while, so that's can explain his absence. I'm quite sure actually that he's going to be joining us next week. So looking forward to that. As for what I've got,
he's only not here because of Mother's Day over there. So happy Mother's Day to all the mothers in England.
That's right. Yes, very much so. As where you can find me right here Thursday night with Papa Smokes. We're bringing you another episode of A Trip Through the Territories. This time around, we are looking at the Montreal territory and some of the famous names that grace that territory, including Andre the Giant, one of the big names that is there. We've talked about him in the past. So a lot to unfold this Thursday night on Ring Respect Radio. If you haven't watched it already, we did just have Ladies Trivia Night the other night on Ring Respect Radio. Go back and watch that. I was very mean to STG on that show in kayfabe mode, of course. We were having fun. Shots were fired back and forth. We had a good night. It was a great thing, and it was all for donation to NOW.org, the National Organization for Women, and a lot of great talent that was on that show joining us. So was happy to see that. And yeah, glad you loved it as well too, SGG. It was a very fun show to do. Of course, I am back here next Sunday with these fine gentlemen talking all the week in sports on Point of View every Saturday afternoon with Papa Smokes on Prairie Pro Wrestling, bringing you a brand new match from our vault. This Saturday just dropped. It was T.Y. Jackson taking on the intangible Zoe Sager. And this coming Saturday, we have got the big Prairie Pro Wrestling Championship matchup. Sheik Akbar Shabazz defending against Michael Allen Richard Clark. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe over there as well. And then also check out the Knife in the Dark podcast, available on all places you can stream podcasts, including Spotify, things like that. I will be on another couple of upcoming episodes of the Knife in the Dark podcast where they found my kryptonite. They found 2 movies that they knew I couldn't find a silver lining and like for any reason. So now they got me to shit talk a couple of movies in a row. We're talking Five Nights at Freddy's and Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. It was torturous, but yes, I will be there and I will get that done. But yes, hold on. Will we ever see a WWE ID match at your company, Bobby, in the future? Probably not. I'm just going to say it right now. There's a lot of moving pieces to have to make one of those matchups happen in the first place, and WWE are kind of selecting particular companies that those are happening at. I don't think PPW is on the level that they're going to pay to have another WWE ID wrestler come out to our area and work. So can't say that we will unless all of a sudden they ID Michael Allen, Richard Clark, and we get the two of them to fight each other or something. But that's another story for another
Michael
time.
Richard Clark or WWE ID?
No, nobody in
Yeah.
Canada has been other than Zoe.
I was gonna say we only have one Canadian in there so far, so
Yep.
it's very hard to get the Americans come up too. Like you gotta you got even like being here in Edmonton, it's a little bit easier because we're a little bit bigger, so it's easier to get people in Edmonton. But for Bobby, we had this conversation. It's a lot harder to get somebody in for Saskatoon. Again, a little more out of the way. Again, more expensive to get people to there. It's yeah, and again, people don't come in for nothing, especially like most of the people that are signed to the WID are fairly well-known independent wrestlers too. So that's the bigger problem. So they're already demanding a higher number to come in. So like it's harder to get like Zeta Steel just came back from Japan. Kylie Ray has been on national TV multiple times over the years. It's hard to get, and like a lot of the guys are the same way. So especially now with them appearing on Evolve, it's tough.
Yeah, and our market is too niche here in Saskatoon. That's the biggest problem. They're gonna go to bigger centers like Toronto, maybe BC, something like that before they'll ever come here. But the thought's always nice. It's always great. At least we do have one talent that has been ID'd that works for us on a regular basis and is worth checking out. Her match just dropped Saturday.
New LPW Grand Champion WWEID is always said.
There you go as well. Winning titles all over the place. But yeah, check that match out. Check all our matches out. And come back here next Sunday to join myself, Andre, and hopefully Ed and Mark for more Point of View. Take care, everybody.